Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Sideboard Files here on HEDRON.TV. Manuel here, your host as usual, joined once again by the unstoppable Joshua Bausch.
Hello. That's a nice intro.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, I have quite a reason for saying that because, thank you, welcome back first of all, and thank you for being here once again.
Thank you.
Especially because you get to be here right after another fantastic finish. I mean, we're talking about Grand Prix Madrid, Team Unified Modern.
Yes.
So congratulations to you, to your teammates, Martin Zimmerman and René Kraft, if I remember correctly. Yes. Congratulations to all of you for a fantastic 10th place. I mean,
yes, 10th place was insane. We at some points we were 3-2. We didn't expect to be winning all day, and it was 7-2 on day one, and then we just lost one match at a close one, and with a third game decider. Was hard, but yeah.
Fantastic stuff and fantastic comeback.
Yes, thank you.
So, the deck you decided to go for this Grand Prix, Bring to Light Scapeshift. Yes. I mean, we had Scapeshift already on the show before, but this version is quite different. So I'm very happy we can talk about this one. And let's have a look at the list. Let's have a look at the main deck. And the first thing I would like to ask you is, the game plan of this version of Scapeshift is the same, that the pure red-green Scapeshift, but this is a deck that works in a different way somehow.
Yeah, the TitanShift, the normal with the Primeval Titan, is a straightforward ramp and winning the game with the Titan itself and Scapeshift. But Bring to Light Scapeshift is more a combo control silver bullet deck that tries to control the game, disrupt the opponent game plans, mostly winning a turn later than the normal TitanShift deck, but still, it can defend himself, not like the regular TitanShift. And that's what I like about it. It's like finding everything you want. You have specific cards you can play that are cards that are unusual, and finding, because of the namesake of the deck, Bring to Light.
Sure. Bring to Light gets you to tutor stuff, so you can get the cards you need at the right time and just play them when...
If you want to need a sweeper, you just tap 5 mana and you can get any sweeper you want out of your deck. So it's a nice to have. So you play like, if you have 1 copy in the deck, you have like 5 copies in the deck. And that's what I like about the deck.
Yeah, excellent. So I see that you don't play, because some other lists play like a sort of secondary game plan with the Madcap Experiment and the Platinum Imperium, for instance. You didn't go for that strategy.
Yes, there's I saw some lists there playing it in the main deck, some in the sideboard.
Yes.
In testing, I had it in the sideboard as well, because some matchup you sometimes don't want your life totals to change. And I figured that it only works in the burn matchup. So when you play against burn, they can't beat it, except they play 3 bolts on it. And I would be fine with playing 3 bolts on my creature. But it was kind of the only matchup I figured it's good against. And in other matchups, they always have some left of removal spells. They have Path to Exile. The Empyrean is vulnerable against discard, or against the black-green discard decks. It's very good against them, but they still have Liliana in the deck, and you have not much creatures to protect it from the minus ability of Liliana. So that's why I'm not running it in the list.
It wasn't strong enough.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day.
At the end of the tournament, if I knew I would play against 2 burn decks, I would have had it in the sideboard, but you can't know it before the tournament.
Okay, so it's a strategy you could still consider for your sideboard.
Sure.
But at Grand Prix Madrid, you didn't play it in your sideboard at all?
Because I don't thought I would play against 2-time burns.
Okay.
I thought we discussed what we could face, and we were mostly right. That's why we I think got the 10th place at the GP.
Yeah, sure. So you read the metagame pretty well, and you were prepared for the decks that you were actually expecting. All 3 of you, I mean.
Yes.
Excellent. So very good. Talking about these one-off, because you explained that this is like a silver bullet deck. You tutor with Bring to Light the cards that you want to play. You have quite interesting choices, because also for the ramp spells, I mean, you have 4 Search of Tomorrow, but you have only 1 Farseek, and you have instead other ramping spells. So I would like to ask you about these slots.
Yes, you could normally tell you have like the 10 ramping spells, here you have 4 Search for Tomorrow, 4 Sakura Dry Powder, I have 1 Farseek, and I consider Search for Skantra a ramping spell as well. It was 4 in the testing, and I will talk about soon enough. Then you have, for the 3 mana slots, you have the Kodama's Reach, because you want this card, because sometimes you want to ramp and want to have a card. It's mainly against Liliana decks, because they disrupt you and +1ing Liliana, and sometimes you need to play the land, bring to light for Kodama's Reach, ramp another land, and get a card in your hand in form of another land, and so you can discard it next turn for then winning the game with the next Bring to Light, for example.
So you can keep on going with the ramp plan, and at the same time you can have an extra land in your hand that you can discard if necessary.
Getting extra cards, that comes up quite a few times, but it's like a 3 mana ramp card for finding more lands. Then you have in the 4 mana slot Hunting Wilds. Hunting Wilds is a card that's, I think, the best ramp spell in the deck, because it finds you 2 lands right away, and always when you cast it, you win the next turn if you have Scapeshift, because if you cast it on its own, then you afterwards play a land, you have 7 lands, and most of the time it's enough, dealing 18 damage. Or you search it up with Bring to Light, then you had 5 lands going, or have already 7, play another, have 8, and that kills for sure. That's are the cards for the Silver Bullets. Then I have the Search for Skantra. It's kind of the 10th ramp spell for the 2 and 1 mana and Search for Tomorrow ramp cards, because it's kind of mixed between card selection and ramping, because it's not that usual that it's going to be flipping like turn 2, 3, 4. It's not the fastest flipping card, but if it flips, the land that it provides always wins the game, or the effect of the card searching for, most of the time, your winning card spell in Bring to Light or Scapeshift. Yeah, it's huge, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And this deck works perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very good. So, as you said, it's more into, it's something in between.
Yes.
The card selection and the ramp plan. I mean, it helps you in both sides, which is really a huge advantage, actually, in this very deck.
Yes.
So, a card that I would like to talk about is Worldly Council.
Worldly Council is like the card selection spell, so sometimes need to find your cards, and this is one of the cards. I think it's the best card because of the domain ability. It's like an impulse, because you see 4 cards, and impulse itself is not legal in the format. You can go with Anticipate, or there are some other options, but looking 4 cards is the best one. And at worst, I had once at a tournament, it just looked at 2 cards, but then it was pretty desperate, I think. But normally it's like an Anticipate, but most of the time it's an impulse.
Probably one of the best card selection tools in Modern right now, I would say.
Yes.
At least for a deck like yours.
Yes, because you want to find specific cards at the right moment, and
you need to dig, and you need to hit.
Yes. Most of the time it finds a land. I played it and played a land right away. And
which is already fine with you. I mean, this is what you want to do. Have a lot of mana.
That's true.
A big mana deck itself. I mean, Bring the Light Scapeshift. Absolutely true. Okay. Anything else that you would like to underline about your list? Any other card? Any specific choice that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I talked with a friend, Mario Heuser. He top 4 at the GP in Madrid, and he plays the deck most of the time as well. But he couldn't for this tournament because cards were blocked. And he always
because of the Team Unified.
Yes, because of the Team Unified. Yes. And he always criticized me about not playing 4 remands. I think it's fine now playing 4 remands. I think it's now better. But in preparation for the tournament, I thought there were too many Cavern of Souls deck.
Okay.
Not remanding the spell, just drawing a card cycle for 2 mana, I think was worse off, and that's what was my reason for just running 3.
Okay.
I would go up to 4 now. I don't know what to cut yet. I would test it more and
sure. So see what the weakest link is, and just take it out and put the 4th remand in it.
Yes.
Okay. So it's sort of like combo, but with control elements at the end. This is what this deck is.
Yes, this is all around Cryptic Command. You want to cast
Cryptic. 4 of.
Yes, it's a 4 of Cryptic Command. It's like one of the best cards in Modern, I think. Controls does everything. It's like bouncing permanents, drawing cards, countering spells, and preventing you from dying. This card is insane, and it won most of the games.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, not by chance a staple in the modern world anyway. I mean, of course, so many decks run in this card.
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think it's if you're familiar with the strategy, there are mostly this. I think standard cards you can go up to 4 or 3 cards, and depends.
Sure. That depends also what you expect in your local meta.
Yes.
We are talking about a deck that you actually designed for Grand Prix Madrid.
Yes.
For a high level competitive event, 2 days of Magic. So the decks you were expecting, and of course, when you design the deck for like a local meta, your local store, probably your choices are going to be different.
Yeah, if you expect more combo decks, or for example, Urza Tron, or big mana decks, TitanShift, some more unfair decks, except then I think that's a perfect choice because you are winning by a combo and you disrupt their opponents.
Okay, very good. Makes perfect sense to me. And since we are talking about the decks that you were expecting, of course, sideboard tuning and this and that, we can just jump to that sideboard, your sideboard, and the configuration that you have right here. So what you have is 1 Dragon Master Outcast, 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Negate, 1 Dispel, 1 Ravenous Trap, 1 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Umvuli Acid Moss.
Yes.
Oof, I could pronounce that name. 1 Creeping Corrosion, 2 Obstinate Baloth, 1 Thranduil's Troll, 1 Maelstrom Pulse, and 1 Slaughter Games. So as usual at this point of the show, the question I ask, you know it already because you've been here already a few times. What kind of sideboard is this?
Yeah, it's a silver bullet. It's expecting colorless decks because of some artifact removal cards, having counter spells for the control decks, and having other silver bullet cards you want to find in specific matchups.
Okay.
And you have 1 card that's like an alternate win condition. Sometimes.
Okay. So in some matchups you need a sort of plan B.
Yes, sometimes you need more hate maker cards because there are cards like Surgical Extraction in the format, and if they have a combination of Ghost Quarter, Valakut, or discard your Scapeshift and Surgical the card, then winning is possible, but it's very hard.
Okay, so yeah, thinking about this particular perspective, of course the creatures are actually what stands out the most, so we can talk about the creatures here. I mean, Obstinate Baloth is pretty known also in the normal version of red-green TitanShift that we discussed many times here on the show with our friend Alex Takic. And I mean, another creature, Thranduil's Troll, but the Dragon Master Outcast. So I would like to start actually from the last one that I mentioned. This card, why this card in particular as a plan B?
It's a card you can play, it's a 1 mana spell, has a huge impact on the board, and wins the game on its own. You can support it, you play it, and you have counter mana. You still can support it and not dying for any reasons. And that I think your plan is to ramp, and this card needs ramp cards to be really good.
Sure.
If you can play it on turn 4 with 6 lands out, and then your opponent has to kill it. Otherwise, every time getting a 5/5 dragon,
it's gonna win you the game very fast.
It won me some games. Yeah,
it won you some games in the Grand Prix.
In the Grand Prix, not because I didn't face any decks that want to surgical me. But in testing, won more. Like 5 games with it.
In which matchups you found this one most effective?
In control mirrors. Most of the time it's in control mirrors because they have some cards like Ruined Halo and something like this. They want to disrupt you, and they bought out most of the time all the removal. And then some random decks you expect most of it in the mirror as well, because there are some other cards I have in the sideboard as well, the Slaughter Games. You need win conditions, and
the mirror. You mean anything that is like Scapeshift based? So
no, like bring to light.
Okay.
I played the mirror sometimes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny if everyone is like Slaughter Game, your Scapeshift, and and in some matchups there. And against Ad Nauseam, for example, that's a very, very, very bad matchup for this deck because they can just say, "Oh, I can't lose the game" for a split-second spell.
Sure.
And in this matchup, you need creatures to win the game, and this card's where it shines.
This card does the job just right.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Next, we have 2 Ancient Grudge. Artifact Hate.
Artifact Hate. I play 2 because I expected Lantern Control and Affinity most of the time, because I think Lantern Control is the best deck right now in Modern. It's hard to play. Many people, it's like the same of Miracles that was when it was legal with Sense Dividing Top in Legacy. It's a deck that's very, very slow, and people, it's the best deck in the format by far, but people underestimating their skill of playing it, I think. And that's why the game tracks out the most, and I want to have the cards to beat the card, and Ancient Grudge is like, if it gets milled, it still destroys the Haymaker cards, and that's why I wanted to.
Yeah, the flashback ability is also very important. I mean, against the Lantern Control, the fact that the card gets milled, it's not really a problem, because you can just cast it again from the graveyard, and you can still take care of at least one of their artifacts.
The right artifact most of the time.
Hopefully the right one, yes. Choose wisely, people, when you are facing against Lantern Control. What is the right one?
That says you have hexproof, or the Lantern itself. These two artifacts you have to destroy.
Yeah, so you're talking about the Witchbane Orb. If they sided against you, it's the first priority you have to deal with. Otherwise
you have to watch out if you play against the deck and cast Scapeshift, and they can response search for it with the blue Weir of Invention. So you have to always have the backup plan of remanding or countering the Weir of Invention, or have the Ancient Crutch for destroying the Witchbane Orb.
Okay, understood. Next, negate, 2 copies.
Yeah, there are many non-creature spells in Modern, and you have to counter it. Mostly mirror against TitanShift, against control decks, against Tron. There are many non-creature spells that are worth negating.
Okay, so control, mirror, or
it's like it's like one of the all-around cards. When you want to get your combo through, because, for example, Death Shadow plays now up to 4 Stubborn Denials, and you have to counter it. So negate is one of the cards you want to
making sure that your combo goes through.
Just resolve the Scapeshift, and then you're fine.
And also against Surgical Extraction, that kind of hate, making sure that you can execute a game plan. Very good. Dispel, more or less the same, but targeted instance, so maybe another function as well.
It's like it's cheaper. Sometimes you have to double negate or double counter, and having the option for 1 mana is mana efficient.
Mana efficient, just 1/1 convert on mana, cost 1 mana, and you can still do other things in the turn or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Very good. The fact that it targets instance only. It's not really narrowing too much down.
No, in the matchup you bring Dispel, you want specifically you want to hate on instance.
Okay.
For example, against Druid, against company decks, you want to counter Collective Company, or you want to counter their counters.
Okay.
And so you're just targeting. You want to go mana efficient if you know you're expecting counter spells.
Okay, so when you have specific targets, you know what they are. You just want to have the cheapest answer you can get to contrast these cards. Okay, totally understood. Ravenous Trap, Graveyard Hate.
Yes, so right now we have two together. They fill the same role.
Very true.
They're Graveyard Hates. Ravenous Trap is I think the only or the best Graveyard Hate that can be tutored with Bring to Light, because it exiles the graveyard right away. I don't think it's the best in general. I don't like the card because sometimes it doesn't come up. It's the best against Trajan, I think. If they Trajan, you just exile the whole creature, but for theirs, you have it in your hand. Going further, I think Scavengers performed way better, but it's not I removed the graveyard in an instant.
Sure.
But I think it's the best one of removing graveyards against some specific decks like Grizzle Shoal or Dredge. So sometimes good against Storm as well. So.
So sometimes, Scavenging Ooze removes specific cards.
Yes.
You get the bonus if it's a creature card. You get the life and the counter, but you can target the card.
Yes. Having creatures after sideboarding is mostly surprising for the opponent because they bought out all the removal, and that's normally dead cards. And an uncontested Scavenging Ooze can go big and win the game on its own as well.
Sure. So this one also fits like the role of an extra win condition.
Yes.
Okay.
I bought it in against A-Track in the tournament, and I played a creature, and he was like sad because he don't have any removal left.
Okay. Do these two work together? You usually side both of them.
If the all-in Graveyard Hate decks, I bought in both of them. This one gets sometimes boarded in against some other decks that are having some creature, some graveyard interactions. And you can disrupt them with it because it still does a role of blocking and threatening the Gegner, threatening the opponent.
The opponent, yeah. Could be an option for, I don't know, when you face Death Shadow decks, for instance.
Yes, for example.
To make sure that they don't play their death spells and you also have a blocker, can get big.
Sometimes they are too fast for scavenging use because of milling to themselves, drawing cards,
with Thought Scour.
So then the Urs can't keep up because you have other things to do. But other than that, I think it's a better. Right now, I think this card is better than this all in all because it's more flexible.
Okay. But this is something that you found out during the GP?
Yes. Yes. It's like going forward, I think I would card the Ravenous Trap, but I have to find other options.
Okay. But at the time when you actually played the GP, you played also Ravenous Trap, and did it work for what you wanted to do?
I didn't face any graveyard.
So you didn't really...
Yes, I had no graveyard opponents.
It sounds to me that during the GP you faced always the same 2 or 3 decks.
Yes, because there are some decks that are better than...
than others,
And are better than others, and I think it depended on where you're seated. I played against different decks, but we expected some decks, and every deck we expected. I played against one unusual deck. I played against blue, black, Top the Foundry.
Yeah.
But, I think that's a deck that can't really win against me because they don't have counter spells, and I just ramp. If they don't kill me fast enough, then...
The only thing they can do is race you, otherwise you do your thing and
He was a deck with Witchbane or what I expected, so, but still.
You were able to get rid of Witchbane Orb and win.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Next, so the second row here, we have Monvuli Acid Moss.
Yes, Monvuli Acid Moss against land, some land-based strategies in form of Tron or TitanShift.
Yes.
That's the most cards, I think. And or sometimes there are Utopia Sprawl decks you can board it in against, getting a 2-for-1 for it. It's disrupting your opponent and ramping you at the same card. Sure.
Yeah, we chanted the quality of this card already many times here on the show in previous episodes talking about TitanShift. So everybody knows about it, I guess. Yes. All right, Creeping Corrosion, destroy all artifacts.
That's one of the silver bullet cards you want against a graveyard card, against artifact cards, because you have Bring to Light, you have like 5 copies in the deck, and then again you have still Snapcaster Mage, flashing it back. Finding it right away wins the game on its own against the right decks. So
Affinity, Lantern Control.
Yes. That's our most of the 2 decks that you bought it in against.
You just want to have it so when it's the right time.
If you have against these decks, you have Bring to Light in hand, you just want to go to 5 lands, just cast this card. Find this card and just most of the time win the game.
Okay. Very clear. Obstinate Baloth, 2 copies. Gaining life, having a huge creature, always useful against probably burn and this kind of stuff.
Most of the time it's against Liliana decks.
Liliana decks as well because of the interaction.
Yes, because of the discarding interaction. And I had it most of the time. It came up like 4 times in the GP where opponent plays Liliana, plus it. I just played this card, put that card on the battlefield and killed Liliana right away. And then, had the blocker and gaining the life was huge.
Absolutely.
So I think that's most of the time for discard decks.
Okay, for decks that run discard spells.
Liliana most of the time.
Liliana of the Veil.
Exactly.
I mean, such a powerful card, so need to be answered.
Yes.
Okay. Last row. Thron, the last troll.
Thron was the last card I added to the sideboard. I wanted to have Izzet Static Caster instead of Thron the last troll, but my teammate played Izzet Static Caster.
Yeah, so this is more dictated by the Team Unified.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I wanted to add something against the control decks. I think it was okay fine against Affinity and Counters Company and all of the other creature-based decks. And then I added Thron, Haymaker, because I expected more blue-white or Jeskai control decks. I didn't face them, but in testing, and if you cast it, if you look at the top 4 profiles of GP Madrid, Chowling said he wanted to discard Band and he was one of the Jeskai control decks, so you expect him to be the best Haymaker card against this kind of strategy.
Yeah, control, Jeskai, blue-white, always effective, very hard to answer, to get rid of it. I mean, it's really almost impossible for these decks, so yeah, almost I would say. But
yeah, they have Supreme Verdict, but it still has a nice regenerating ability, so you can still keep it up.
Okay, Supreme Verdict does actually kill everything, just destroy, and they cannot be regenerated, or they can be regenerated.
This card can just this card can just can't be counted. So
just wanted to be sure.
Yes,
I don't. Okay, very good. So Maelstrom Pulse, probably one of the most flexible things that you have here in the sideboard.
Yes, it's one of the the silver bullet card for the sideboard, because it kills everything you want to kill.
Yeah.
And I bought it in almost every game. Maybe I should have played it in the main deck for the GP, but I didn't know what I put out on the main deck. And this card was like one of the MVPs out of the sideboard.
Okay. So how many matchups can you actually cover with this one?
Like almost everywhere where they bought in or have a permanent you want to get rid of.
Okay.
So there's like everything. I played against A-Drag and I bought out all my removal.
Yeah.
But I bought this in. And my opponent played turn 2 Pack Red and was like, how do I kill this card now?
Yeah.
And at the last moment I threw Bring to Light to 2 to 4 Maelstrom Pulse and kill all the reds, and saved me the life.
So in that particular instance was like a sweeper.
Yes, it was like a sweeper.
Clear the board. Yeah. Okay. So just one example of how flexible this card can be and how helpful can be in different situations.
Yes.
Absolutely true. Last but not least, one Slaughter Games.
Yeah, that's one against specific combat decks. It was most of the for the Storm deck.
Yeah.
For the Gift Storm deck, because if you can cast it and say Grape Shot, they're normally not bought in their Goblin Storm card, and then you just won the game. If you cast it before they can kill you.
Sure.
But you have like negates and Dispel and stuff like this for disrupting your opponent, so you most of the time get to the opportunity to cast this card.
You can buy time, and then you can actually just swing this one in and make sure their win condition is no more.
Yeah, so it's like if they have a card in their deck, sometimes you play against Breach, through the Breach decks, then you bought it in, say the card that they need to win with, or for example, through the breach, you say through the breach they can't flash in any more Emrakuls or Weasel Brands, and then that's like a silver bullet card for specific combo decks that needs a specific card to win.
And you need to be prepared, you need to know what to name.
Yes.
Very important. Okay, very good. So we set it all for the sideboard. I think we can start talking about some specific matchups.
Yes.
So Bring to Light Scapeshift, a version, like a variant of Scapeshift strategies. So the first one I would like to talk about is actually I wouldn't say really the mirror, but Bring to Light Scapeshift versus pure red-green TitanShift. Because this is another deck that is pretty popular, so you can expect this deck quite in a high number at big events. So I think it's quite interesting to talk about this one. I think this is a matchup in which you have a little bit of advantage there.
Yes. Because TitanShift is a more linear strategy. Just want to ram, and then play your Haymaker card to win the game. And in our specific matchup, I'm the guy that slows down, because your opponent tries to slam all the time, and you just play counter draw with Cryptic Command, or Remand bounces back to your hand. And you buy your time. In the first 1, 2, 3, 4 turns, you do the same. You just play your Ramp spell, play your Ramp spell, play your Ramp spell. And you don't need to disrupt their ramping spells, because you just counter their cards to win the game.
You counter their finisher.
Yes, you counter their finisher.
So the big advantage is you can interact with them. Yes. They can't interact with you, but you can interact with them.
Yes, exactly. And that's our big advantage, because they can't grind you out with just playing lands and then have Valaku triggers going the stack if the game goes long, because on turn 7, turn 8, if you have enough lands, you just draw your card, you won the game. So there is no going long in the matchup. And in the early turns, you do the same, disrupt your opponent, and then you have the advantage of winning, because your spell resolves.
Okay, very good. So, objectives in game 2, post-sideboard.
It's like the same. You get more haymaker cards out of the sideboard in game 2.
Yeah.
And you have the same strategy. So you're pretty favored because you interact with them and they don't.
Yeah. So
and they don't really have any interactive spells going forward.
Execute your game plan and prevent them from executing their strategy.
Yes.
So you contain them, you control them, you're playing the control role.
Yes.
And you just win the game with your win conditions.
Yes.
Okay, very true. So cyber plans on the play and on the draw are the same.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. So what do you side out and what do you side in?
So I side out Anger of the Gods, Damnation, and 2 Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Mass removal, you don't really need them. Sometimes they bring in creatures, for example, Tireless Trigger.
Yeah.
You don't really care because you just have to disrupt them. Sometimes you need to kill it because it goes too big, but I think the clock is not fast enough for them to win the game because they have so many spells that finds you the right ones, and if you got your Scapeshift, you just won the game.
Okay.
And what you bring in is 2 negates, 1 Woolly Acid Moss, and 1 Maelstrom Pulse. Maelstrom Pulse for if they find their Tireless Tracker or Cause of Crucifix, or even resolve one of their Titans, you have the option to kill it. And 1 Woolly Acid Moss, like disrupting their game plan of destroying a land and ramping you, and negate just for their Scapeshift most of the time, or disrupting their ramp spells. With negate, you just disrupt their lands.
Sure. You add 2 more counters.
Yes.
So you can really contain them. The Maelstrom Pulse doesn't matter how big the Tireless Tracker is in case they have one in play.
Yes.
And Woolly Acid Moss, okay, you ramp your stuff and you slow them down.
They had
so
one game.
Getting even higher edge here.
Yes. I had one game I played against TitanShift. I lost game 1 because I never find a counter spell in game 1. And in game 2 I was on the play. Turn 1, search for tomorrow. Turn 3 I played 1 Woolly Acid Moss, destroy the land, search the land next turn, play the land, Snapcaster, destroy the land with 1 Woolly Acid Moss again. So that's how powerful the deck is.
Yeah, that's devastating. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, very good. So speaking about big mana decks, another big mana deck, very popular right now, Urza Tron.
Yes.
So let's talk about this matchup in particular. And I would like to know what are your objectives in game 2 when you're facing this deck?
So you want to disrupt their lands. So the card that's unusually played in this matchup is Cryptic Command.
Okay.
So most of the time you want to go to your 4 mana and want to bounce their lands because they have to really play their lands all the time. And if they don't assemble Tron, they can't play their Haymaker cards. And if you then play a land extra, bounce their land, and they can't assemble Tron, so you don't need to counter anything else.
Okay.
The card you have to worry about is Ulamog,
the
Ceaseless Hunger.
Yeah.
That's the card when they're on the play and you they can assemble Tron once, and you need to counter their first spell or remount the first spell, then counter the second spell with Cryptic Command, bounce land, and try to Cryptic Command again to bounce the next if your turn. You have to hope that they don't play on your fourth turn, the Ulamog for disrupting your lands.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're pretty favored, I think, as well, because if you counter their stuff, the only card that matters is Ulamog because it has a cast trigger.
Sure. It doesn't matter what you do; the cast trigger goes on the stack and eventually resolves. So all your focus is on the mana base.
Yes, all the focus on the mana base and trying to ramp, sequencing your spells so that you always can cast your counter spells that you have in your hand, and try to, as fast as possible, bounce their lands with Cryptic Command. But keep in mind that if they're on their turn, they can still play the third Urza land as well. So always start with counter bounce a land, and your turn bounce the other land that they have just one of. And if you're getting from having just 2 different just into one Urza land, you're pretty far ahead then. Sure.
You gain that huge advantage that's going to win you the game. Okay, very good. So cyber plans in detail, same plans on the play and on the draw, I believe.
Yes.
So what do you set out and what do you set in?
So it's like the same cards you bought out against TitanShift, Anger of the Gods, Damnations, but this time 3 Lightning Bolts.
Okay,
because you need more cards to bring in.
Okay.
You bring in 2 Negate, 1 Ancient Crutch, 1 Woolly Acid Moss, and 1 Maelstrom Pulse. The same cards. This time Negate are for for Khan, for example, or the cards that search them, the lands. Ancient Grudge, they have many artifacts. You want just sometimes get rid of them. Yeah. Now they play Walking Ballista, killing the Walking Ballista that can't get too huge, but you just bring one because it's a silver bullet for just sometimes they bring.
You're talking about Chalice of the Void.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes they have this in a sideboard for they have many mana and just play it for 4, and then you need to have an out. And in this particular case, you have Ancient Grudge, for example.
Sure.
Monvolia Assetmos.
Still the same.
The same.
The role of the cards is almost the same. And Negate has more like threats that can target, like the Planeswalkers and stuff like that.
And Western Pulse is like a card that kills the Planeswalker when it's resolved.
Yeah, very true, very true. In some extreme cases, it's even Chalice of the Void.
Even Chalice of the Void, yes. It came up.
Okay, very true. So, let's talk about another matchup. Another popular deck, Countess Company.
Yes.
So, this one, is it an easy matchup? Is it a hard matchup? How do you see that?
If they don't be on the play and they have a turn to Druid.
So when they're not on the play
and have a turn to Druid, I think it's an easy matchup.
Okay.
Because you have to just fade if they're on the just turn to Druid, turn 3, win the game. If you can disrupt that, you have all the ways of winning the game because they are a slow creature deck with cards you see coming. If they pass with 4 mana, okay, now there's one Collective Company coming or this card, and you have to always go just for the Druid. If you can kill the Druid or let the Druid not be on the battlefield, that's all you want to know, all you want to have.
Okay.
And
so if we speak about the objectives, one of the objectives is being able to kill the key creatures.
Kill the key creature, and the key creature is the Druid. If you can kill it, you basically just can control the game out and have your escape shift for win the game if you have 7 or 8 lands.
Very good. So type of plans in detail on the play and on the draw, are you the same here as well, I guess?
Same here as well.
Even if when you are on the play you have a little bit of advantage, I understand, but that is not enough to actually tweak your cyber plan for both, for different circumstances. Anyway, so what do you side out and what do you side in?
I set out 1 Hunting Wilds, 1 Kodama's Reach, and 1 Farseek. So I bought out Ram spells because I just want to prevent my opponent from winning the game by just don't tapping out on ramping.
You want to be interactive. As we said before, killing the creatures, so you don't want to tap out to play a ramp spell. You want to be able to kill a creature on site.
Yes. And that's the 3 cards I will bought out against them. I bought into Dispel for disrupting their Countess Company and
Court of Calling, I guess.
Court of Calling.
Yeah.
I want the Scavenging Ooze because they have Kitchen Finks most of the time, and it's a creature that can block their creatures, and you can Lightning Bolt their Kitchen Finks, eating it in response, and then it doesn't come back. And 1 Maelstrom Pulse for the
for everything.
For everything. Sometimes they bring in Leyland of Sanctity.
Yeah, Sanctity.
There you can kill it or bounce it with Cryptic Command. There are ways to beat it.
Sure. Master of Pulse is actually the card that helps you to get rid of all the hate you could receive.
Yes.
In form of artifact or enchantments.
Every permanent that they want to in. Ruined Halo, Leyland of Sanctity.
Yeah, very true. Ruined Halo as well. Yeah,
which
very true.
So there are many permanents right now in Modern that are played to get rid of it.
Okay, excellent. I think we said it all for this matchup and also for this episode because we reached the end. So congratulations to you once again, to your teammates as well, Martin Zimmerman and René Kraft, for the big, fantastic 10th finish there at Grand Prix Madrid.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being back here, and taking your time to be on the show once again.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, always a pleasure to me as well. You are coming back. And of course, a big thank you to all of you who've been watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you want to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, facebook.com/HEDRON.TV and twitter.com/HEDRON.TV. And that's it for this year. This is the last episode for 2017. We are coming back next year with more videos. So no intention to stop here at HEDRON.TV. In the meanwhile, chill out, relax. Enjoy your season holidays, enjoy your free time with your friends, families, all the people you love. I wish you a fantastic 2018, full of great stuff in your life. And we will see you next year. For now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.